and I practice obstetrics and gynecology. I'm board certified and I'm licensed to practice medicine in both Florida and Alabama. And my biggest priority is patient care and patients' rights. I still have an active practice, deliver about 25 babies a month, but patients are my desire to help. And we treat the babies in the womb as patients, and we want to defend the rights of patients. I finished my residency in 1999, and the advances have been amazing in how we treat patients in the womb. We are now doing blood transfusions to save babies' lives while they are in the womb. At my hospital, we have done that as early as 18 weeks gestation. We are doing open heart surgery, spina bifida corrective surgery, and even laser vascular surgery. A patient is a person, no matter how small, but our moms are our patients as well, and we are there to meet their needs because no woman should stand alone. We are here to meet the needs of the moms, which are our patients, but also the babies, which are our patients on the inside of the womb. 22 years ago, everybody probably remembers that picture. It showed the uterus with an incision in it and a hand popped out. Well, that baby's name was Samuel Armas, and Samuel had a defect in his spine called spina bifida. And Vanderbilt University was doing a trial to see if they could correct the spina bifida defect in the womb. Then years later, they started to do the same thing, correcting that defect in the womb, but instead of making an incision in the uterus, they actually were able to do this fetoscopically. Just like when you now can get your gallbladder out and you're in the line at Chick-fil-A in 2 hours, now we can fix this with the fetoscope inside of the womb. But just recently at UC Davis, they took the initiative to try using stem cells to cure the babies in the womb. What they did was they made an incision in the uterus, and instead of surgically repairing the defect, they wanted to use stem cells. So stem cells are cells that can become anything. They're what are called totipotential cells. It's kind of like a young kid. They can become anything they want to be. They just need some direction. So they took these stem cells and they placed them on a patch of something called dura. And this was then applied directly to the defect in the baby's spine. And miraculous changes happened. The baby, while it was in the womb, had not been moving its legs and its feet. Halfway through the pregnancy, after the application of the stem cells, it started to move its feet. When the baby was born, they really think they have a cure for spina bifida. It is absolutely amazing. The first type of stem cells that they tried in this study at UC Davis were stem cells that were harvested from aborted babies, thinking this is going to help. Guess what? It didn't work. They did find some stem cells that worked, and these stems were mesenchymal cells which were harvested from placentas. Placentas after a baby had already been delivered. Placentas that almost everybody just discards and throws away. When they harvested these stem cells, they were actually curing spina bifida in the womb. They spent $9 million initially on this trial. California has now given them an additional $20 million on this trial. There are 1,800 babies each year that are born with spina bifida. There are about 180,000 adults that are suffering from spina bifida, which can cause paralysis of the legs. It can cause incontinence of urine and stool. This could be a cure to help these babies inside the womb and to cure them. And a patient is a person, no matter how small. If we can treat and cure babies in the womb, they're clearly patients, and patients have rights. So we are going to defend the rights of those patients to obtain these kind of life-saving surgery. But we also likewise have to defend the lives of patients that are in the womb that might be threatened by abortion. One of the ironies is that this study at UC Davis initially was given $9 million for the trial. And with these positive results, they've already done surgery on 3 babies with amazing results. They've now been granted an additional $20 million to further these trials. At the same time, the same state of California now has a bill going through the House where they will allocate $20 million. What for? To save lives? No. To fly pregnant women from pro-life states over on the mainland to California so that they can get an abortion and then be flown back. So the irony is, how can you spend $20 million to save the lives of babies in the womb, but then also spend another $20 million to take the lives of babies that are also in the womb? Which is it? A patient is a person, no matter how small. Prior to COVID, about 39% of all the abortions in the United States were performed with the abortion pill. Since that time, it's gone from 39% to 54%. And the abortion pill is very different from the morning after pill. The morning after pill is taken the morning after a woman has intercourse. The abortion pill is indicated for 70 mornings after. It is indicated for aborting a baby up to 10 weeks gestation, where the baby has a heartbeat, it is moving its arms and its legs inside of the womb. Well, the abortion pill works by blocking a very important hormone called progesterone. And progesterone is an acronym for a progestational steroid hormone. This is the hormone in pregnancy that acts like the coach of pregnancy. It says, we're pregnant, we're going to keep this pregnancy going, we're going to relax the uterus so it can get bigger, we're going to close the cervix, we're not going to have a menstrual cycle, and we're going to divert more nutrition to support the baby. So everything that's good about a pregnancy is because of progesterone. And we use progesterone in pregnancy all the time. If a woman got pregnant and then miscarried, got pregnant and then unfortunately miscarried again, usually because of a condition called luteal phase defect, where her body isn't making enough progesterone. So what do? We give that woman progesterone to keep that pregnancy going. So the abortion pill blocks this life-saving hormone called progesterone. It blocks the hormone, then the next day you take a medication which causes real vigorous contractions to pass the placenta, the fluid, and the dead baby there on the inside. So a doctor named George Delgado in California thought, well, if the abortion pill is blocking the hormone progesterone and a woman has regrets, and lots of women do, what if we just gave her more progesterone? The progesterone we use is bioidentical to the progesterone made by the woman. It's made from yams and soybeans, and the structure is the exact same. He tried it on that patient and said, can you help me? It worked. We have a network of over 500 doctors across the country, including myself, who, when a woman calls our hotline under abortionpillreversal.com, she'll be connected with a nurse. The nurse will get some information, connect her with a physician. We'll get a whole history and information on the mom. And then if she chooses, we will send that life-saving reversal medication. It's not this dusty pill in the back of the pharmacy. Let's try. We use progesterone all the time in normal pregnancies. When we have moms that have triplets and quadruplets, and I've delivered both, we give her progesterone so she doesn't go into preterm labor. It keeps the pregnancy going. Now, Planned Parenthood will say women don't regret taking the abortion pill. They do. I have tried to reverse the effect of the abortion pill with 16 women now. We have been successful, healthy moms, healthy babies, 12 of those 16 times. 2 of those reversals, I actually got the phone call from a mom who had taken the abortion pill, and did she have regrets? Yeah, immediately. 2 of those 16 reversals were actually calls from the actual parking lot of the abortion clinic, where that early they thought, what have I done? We all have regrets. That is just part of life. That is just part of being fallible. We all have regrets. There was an interesting study that looked at the Golden Gate Bridge. We know the Golden Gate Bridge, unfortunately, is just a drawing place for people who want to commit suicide. And we know of 28 people who have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge but survived. 1,800 people we know have jumped off to commit suicide, but some people have survived. So there was a psychologist in California. She's like, my goodness, there are 28 people that survived. I want to interview them, especially these people that survived jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge. And what she found out was they walked out onto that bridge and they were thinking, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, nobody is here to help me, the world will be better without me. And they were positive of this. They walked out onto the Golden Gate Bridge and they jumped off and they fell 220 feet. And by some miracle, of those 1,800 people, 28 people survived. They were either picked up by the Coast Guard, picked up by fishermen, or they swam to shore. When she interviewed them and she heard the story of what they were thinking before they jumped off the bridge, what she really wanted to know is what was going through your mind after you jumped off the bridge. They looked up and they saw the bridge above them. All of them, 28 out of 28 had immediate regrets. And I thought, what have I done? Why did I do this? And they just cried out and said, I want to die. They were positive that this is what they wanted to do when they walked out onto the bridge, but then they had immediate regrets. The same story is true for women who are pregnant and are scared. Who's going to help me? Who's going to stand by me? How am I going to handle this? Is my boyfriend going to leave me? So they have fear, they have anxiety, and they're looking for help. They're looking for answers. And they think, having an abortion is going to be what's going to get me out of this. So they walk into the abortion clinic, they are positive, they sign the consent, they swipe their credit card, and they swallow that pill. And it's amazing how many of them have immediate regrets. Just like somebody who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge and then has immediate regrets. We serve a God of second chances and opportunities and forgiveness. And we have that opportunity. If we can initiate the reversal medication, the progesterone, within 72 hours, about 70% of the time, we can save the life of that baby. I mean, that is the story of redemption, where we are buying back the life of that baby. And the data shows that the abortion pill will kill a baby, but if the baby happens to survive because it didn't work, there's no evidence of birth defects on those babies. And we don't see any evidence of birth defects when we successfully can reverse the effect. And the medication we use all the time in normal obstetrics. I've delivered 4,000 babies. I've delivered so many twins, I can't remember them. I've delivered triplets and I've delivered quadruplets. And I remember the triplets and the quadruplets because that's so cool. But I also remember every single one of the moms and their babies had a 98% chance of dying. Yet we were able to initiate the antidote, give her progesterone to reverse that bad decision. That is one of the most rewarding things that you can do in medicine. Our goal is to have healthy patients, to give health care. But the moms are not our only patients. Whenever I have a mom who has a baby on the inside, I have two patients, mom and the baby. If she has quadruplets, I've got 5. I've got mom and I've got 4 babies on the inside. And our team does everything we can do to have a healthy outcome for the mom and a healthy outcome for those babies inside the womb. Healthcare, what is it? Healthcare is when you are sustaining and protecting the lives of your patients. Is abortion healthcare? Now, absolutely not. Abortion is not healthcare. When a woman is pregnant, you have mom who has a heartbeat and you have a baby that has a heartbeat. Mom is circulating her own blood. Baby is circulating that boy or that girl's own blood. Moms and babies can actually have different blood types. And when you have a mom and a baby walk into a surgical suite, both with a heart beating, both circulating blood, and then an abortion is performed and only one heartbeat comes out of that room, that is not healthcare. Healthcare is when we treat the preborn as patients, when we are now doing blood transfusions to the babies. We are doing open heart surgery to babies as early as 27 weeks gestation. We are doing spina bifida corrective surgery on babies and within the womb. We're even doing laser vascular surgery. We are treating the babies in the womb as patients. Children's Hospital in Philadelphia just announced their 2,000th fetal procedure. 2,000 babies where the moms and the babies came in and the mom was treated and the baby was treated. That is healthcare. With the most recent open heart surgery to remove a tumor, what's called a teratoma from the baby's heart at the Cleveland Clinic, they had a team of 12 doctors, nurses, anesthesiologists, and techs in the same operating room performing open heart surgery on this baby in the womb. That is healthcare. An abortion where half of your patients die and do not have a heartbeat after the procedure, that is not healthcare. A lot of times we get asked, is abortion safe? Well, safe for whom? When we have a mom who is pregnant, we have 2 patients. And so abortion is going to take the lives of half of my patients that would go into that abortion procedure room. So for the baby, it is not safe, and they are our patients. But abortion is also not safe for the mom. There's always risk. There's risk of bleeding. There's risk of infection. We had 3 major complications at an abortion clinic in Pensacola, Florida. 3 before we were able to get the state to shut down that abortion clinic. These women had uterine perforations where while this person was doing the abortions, he pushed instruments through the wall of the uterus. We had major bleeding. We had one patient that was brought to our hospital and not only had a perforation and lots of heavy bleeding, she actually had to have a hysterectomy where she will never be able to get pregnant again. We had another patient that came in and not only did they do a perforation and put the instruments through the wall of the uterus, they damaged the bowel. And that patient had to have a bowel resection. We had another patient at that same clinic that had to be transported to Mobile, Alabama, and they had to use the mass transfusion protocol, which is where somebody is hemorrhaging, somebody is dying, and they had to give her as much blood as possible to save her life. So is abortion safe? No. But abortion also has a lot of emotional issues, that emotions, psychological, a lot of issues that we have patients that are dealing with really started when they had their abortion. They know they were pregnant. They know they made a decision that took the life of that baby. We all make mistakes. I mean, look at the Apostle Paul. You look at his life before he had an amazing experience on the road to Damascus with Jesus himself, where Paul was punishing Christians. Paul was holding the cloaks of other men and giving his thumbs up when they were stoning Stephen. Paul had a past, and he's not proud of that past. But Paul also said that we need to forget about those things which lie behind and press on towards what's ahead. When a woman is really dealing with this pain, she wants healing. Healing is available, but healing only comes through true forgiveness, and true forgiveness only comes through Christ. So if Paul can say, forget about what lies behind and press on towards what's ahead, that's what all men and women need to do. Because when you are being reminded of bad decisions that we've all made in our past, that's not God reminding us of those bad decisions. That's really Satan. Satan, who's trying to affect our current relationship with God and trying to interfere with that growth. So do we all make mistakes? Absolutely. Is abortion wrong? Yes. But abortion is something that is wrong, but it can be covered by the blood of Jesus Christ. And that's the message. We need to offer healing. We need to offer support. I've had moms come into me, after they've had an abortion, or they've want to get involved in a pregnancy resource center. And they said, boy, I'd love to get involved in this ministry, but I can't. It's like, well, why not? Well, back when I was in college, I had an abortion. That makes you uniquely qualified to counsel women who are coming in the same situation that you were in. They have the fear, they have the anxiety, and they don't know where to turn. You are uniquely qualified. God can use Paul, then God can use all of us. And it's not just a women's issue. Every pregnancy involves a man. And there are a lot of men who are out there hurting because they have suffered the pain of losing their child as well. I have had men come up to me who actually had driven their daughters to an abortion clinic because they said, Dad, I'm pregnant and I don't know where to turn. I'm going to college. I just got accepted, but I can't have a baby in college. And I've had the dad say, I didn't know about pregnancy centers. I had never heard this message from the pulpit at church. I had one guy who said, I go to church every Sunday morning, every Sunday night, and every Wednesday. He says, I didn't know what to do, but I wanted to support my daughter. He actually took her to the abortion clinic that was an abortion clinic before I took it over back in about 1996 is when he took his daughter. He said they did a quick ultrasound. I saw a black circle with some movement on the inside. He says, that was my first grandchild. He said that I signed a consent because she was underage. She was only 17. He said, we didn't do credit cards back then. He says, I signed my name on a check and I handed the clinic the check. And I saw my daughter walk up a set of stairs. She came back about 20 minutes later, completely changed woman forever. He says, I signed my name twice to abort and kill my first grandchild. He says, was that my first grandchild? He says, to this day, that was my only grandchild. He says, I don't have any other grandkids. He said, I have dealt with that guilt from, signing that check, signing that consent form, driving my daughter to the abortion clinic. He said, when you spoke at this banquet tonight, he says, it's the first time I ever thought that, he says, I'm a saved man, but I have never confessed this to God. He says, why did it take 25 years and a gynecologist of all things to let me realize that is abortion wrong? Yes. But is it a sin that can be covered by the blood of Jesus Christ? Yes. He didn't have to stand up and announce to all the other guys at this conference what he had done. But he said, for the first time, I am walking out of a building with that burden being lifted and said, was it wrong? Was it a wrong decision? Was that something a dad shouldn't do? He says, yes. But I also know that I am forgiven and I have been redeemed by the blood of Jesus Christ. My body, my choice. We hear it chanted in front of different centers. We hear it chanted in front of different courthouses. We see the signs, we hear the chants. My body, my choice. It's a lie. First of all, at the moment of conception, when one egg and one sperm come together, that one cell is different from the mom, is different from the dad, it is different from the other 8 billion people on the planet. How do we know that? Because half the time, that new baby was a boy. So if a mom has 60 trillion cells, every one of them that has a nucleus has an XX chromosome, yet at just 10 weeks gestation, that baby on the inside at 10 weeks gestation is 1 billion cells. If it happens to be a little boy, it has XY chromosomes. So how can this be my body, my choice, if this is a collection of 1 billion cells that all have completely different chromosomes as far as sex chromosomes, XY versus XX, which are in the mom? But the other thing, one of the most popular tests that moms all want to get is what's called cell-free DNA. One of the brand names is a panorama test. And this is just a simple blood test that can be done on the mom. It can be performed 7 weeks after conception. What does it do? We know that it is more than 99% accurate in saying if the baby on the inside is a boy or a girl. How does it do that? It looks at the individual DNA and genetics of the baby. We've known that little fragments of the baby's DNA can cross the placenta, and that DNA ends up in the mom's blood. But there's lots of fragments of the mom's DNA that are in the blood as well. It would be like if you had a sugar bowl and somebody put a pinch of salt in there, and I ask you, I say, Pete, can you do me a favor? Could you get all that salt out of the sugar bowl? You'd be like, no way. We actually now have the technology. We can do a blood test from the mom, and we can extract out all these little fragments of DNA, but then we have the next step. We can extract the 95% of the fragments which belong to the mom and put them over here, and have the 5% of the fragments that are just exclusively the baby and put them over here, and we can study those babies' fragments of DNA. Just like if you sent your blood off to 23andMe or Ancestry.com, you swab your cheek and you send off to find out your heritage and your DNA and your genetics. We can do that with the babies on the inside of the womb. Moms are an amazing life support system for the baby within the womb. But from the moment of conception, that is a different person, that is a different individual, often with a different blood type and always with a different DNA than that of the mom or the dad. Let's branch into politics, which is really the study of how we govern ourselves. The role of government is to protect the rights of its people. And our rights don't come from the government. Our rights come from God. The role of government is to protect those God-given rights. So when it comes to healthcare, absolutely. As a society, we want to make sure that we have adequate healthcare for all the people that are part of our society. When it comes to healthcare, is healthcare and abortion synonymous? No. So when we say, well, we're going to support healthcare and we're going to make sure that our government meets the needs of women who want an abortion. Well, you've got two citizens there. You have two people that are there. So whenever you are supporting the life being taken away of that baby in the womb, that is not healthcare. And that is not the role of government. Government is here to protect. Here in Hawaii, you have a wonderful term, malama, where it is all about protecting life, nurturing life, guiding life. It's something that's very core in your culture, and it's amazing. Hawaiians love life. They love family. They have respect for their elders. They have respect for babies and a love. It is outside of the culture of Hawaiians to take the life of a baby in the womb. You have high-level health care here in Hawaii, which treats the babies in the womb as patients. In Hawaii, you have maternal fetal medicine centers, people who went to college for 4 years, went to medical school for 4 years, did 4 years of obstetrics, and then they did an additional 3 years on high-risk obstetrics. And it's amazing how these centers will treat the babies in the womb as patients. And a patient is a person, no matter how small. You are doing blood transfusions to save the lives of babies in the womb. So if your healthcare system can save the lives of babies, how can healthcare also be included in taking the lives of those same babies that are in the womb? You have an abortion cap at viability. We treat babies in the womb way before viability. Viability might be 23 or 24 weeks. We can now do blood transfusions at 18 weeks gestation directly into the circulation of the baby. That is healthcare. Taking the lives of half of the patients, the mom and the baby, and when you take the life of half of those patients, that is not healthcare, and that is not the role of government. There's another term in Hawaii which is precious, and that is ohana. Ohana refers to family, where there is so much respect for the elders, those who have gone before us. Also, where do ancestors come from? Ancestors were once babies as well. So this love and respect for life goes two ways. It goes towards those who were here before us, but we have to see who is going to be replacing us. You look at our church, you look at organizations, and you see there are young people and there are old people. Well, guess what? The old people in that church used to be young people. And so it is respect. And your progeny, we're told here in the United States that we need for ourselves and our posterity, for those who come after us. And that is very key in the culture of Hawaiians, those who come after us. Who's going to maintain the Hawaiian culture? Who's going to maintain that Hawaiian culture? It's the babies, and it's the babies that are in the womb. There are about 2,800 babies, little Hawaiian babies, that are aborted here in the state of Hawaii each year. Just to put that number in mind, we're just a couple miles from Pearl Harbor. That's almost the same number of people who were killed during the Japanese attack on December 7th, 1941. That same level of death is occurring in Hawaii, on Hawaiians, not just once, but every single year. So life is precious, our history is precious, but our posterity and our future is also precious. So we need to defend the lives of those Hawaiians that are in the womb and those Hawaiians who will be in the womb. What do you say when somebody says, I'm pregnant and I'm scared? Well, we need to meet those needs of those women. There can be lots of circumstances and situations where, yes, they are scared, but no woman should stand alone. You have pregnancy centers here, in Honolulu who will help meet the needs of those women. They will help counsel them. They will do everything they can to meet your needs, whether it is housing, whether it is diapers, whether it is formula. They are there to help you. That is their God-given calling, to help you. We also want to let you know what is going on inside. A pregnancy test doesn't tell the whole story. A pregnancy test just says one line or two lines. That doesn't tell the whole story. The whole story is that baby's life on the inside. Most of the pregnancy centers right here in Hawaii also have ultrasound. Ultrasound is an amazing, a picture's worth 1,000 words. They can give you video, which will let you see your baby there on the inside. See that heart beating, see those fingers, see those toes, see this blessing, see this life, this new generation of family which you have been blessed with. Bring the baby's dad. Let them see that life. Tell your parents it is a blessing. I have had lots of women who have come into my office who were thinking about abortion, and we've counseled them, and we have shown them, ultrasound images of their baby. I have never, after we have delivered these babies, had one mom, when she's holding her precious baby, say, I can't believe I kept this baby. Every single one is like, I cannot believe the decision I almost made, 7 months ago. So let us show you that gift. Let us show you that blessing that has been placed inside of your womb, because that is a little person ordained by God for you to have. They are not a problem. They are not a burden. They are a blessing. Aloha, I'm Dr. Bill Lile and I practice obstetrics and gynecology, and I am pleased to announce that I will be becoming a regular contributor here at this station on Faith in Politics. My expertise is treating the preborn as patients, and yes, we are created in the image of God at that moment of conception, and we treat the preborn as patients, and patients have rights. So join us as we defend God's preborn here on Faith in Politics.